Whoa, whoa, whoa. Stop right there. This channel is not intended for kids under the age of 13. So if you're under the age of 13, please leave.
Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have G.I. Joe Classified Series, Amazon exclusive, Ninja Force Storm Shadow, or I mean Arctic Mission Storm Shadow, because for some reason they must have lost the license to Ninja Force or something. But this Storm Shadow was a shock to a lot of us because we weren't really expecting this Storm Shadow. We were expecting some of the classic, more looking Storm Shadow, but I'm okay with this because I always liked this version when he became a good guy, so it sort of makes me feel weird because you got the Cobra logo in the background and he's not really a Cobra when he was part of the Ninja Force. So I just wanted to zoom in really quick on the actual packaging because I think the artwork on this looks great. I love the pink, how it makes the actual image pop, and I love how the artist did a design throughout the white portions of the costume where it's just not plain white. Very cool stuff right here. So my box has a nice little lean to it because, I mean, Amazon shipped these things in bubble mailers with really no protection. So my box isn't in the best condition, but it's not the worst condition at the same time. So I'm having it lean on my sort of my background to prop it up. But the artwork still looks awesome on this side. We got him holding up his bow, and he has some like weird fog smoke stuff that's like going from one side and sort of wrapping around to the front. The right side of the box, we got the number 14. He is number 14 in the series. It does say Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. And then we got those images of what he specializes in. So if you want to check that out, go to the G.I. Joe website and sort of compare the image, and it'll tell you what each one is. And one of these images, I mean, that throws me off. I mean, this one is, it looks like a basketball net. So he must be really good at basketball. Here we got the back of the box, and this is my first time looking at the back where it has color to it. I have yet to review my Wave 1. I just got those in, so I'll be doing those too. But look at the Alley Vipers on top above a Baroness. It looks so awesome. Tons of vehicles being shown. His tanks, Trouble Bubbles. I mean, besides the vehicles and the Alley Vipers, everybody on the back of this has actually came out, which is awesome. So if that's any sort of future, you know, expectations, I would say that they crammed all this stuff on here, and I'm thinking we're going to probably start seeing more and more vehicles. The bike was the first one, the coil with Baroness, but I can't wait. I hope the next one's a Trouble Bubble or a His Tank, and that would be awesome. Storm Shadow out of the package looks amazing. It has some little gripes that I have about it, but let's go ahead and dive into his accessories. Storm Shadow comes with a scabbard and a katana. Has a little hole right there. The peg, of course. This thing looks awesome. I love the sculpt work. Could have used a little wash, maybe some paint. You know, I understand he's a white ninja or white and gold ninja, whatever you, or white and black gold, whatever. The fact is, like, this doesn't all have to be solid white. His sword, done very, very well. Let's get it to focus there. Got the Rashikage symbol down there. And it's painted silver. Not too bad. And again, the grips are sculpted very nice, just no paint. He also comes with a sickle that's sculpted pretty nice. It's just cast in this white plastic. Like, you painted the blade on the sword silver. Why didn't you paint anything on this sickle? You know, that would have made it stand out more than just having a chunk of white plastic. He does come with a grappling hook with some string attached to it. And again, just no paint, just that off-white, eggshell white almost plastic that they used. Not too bad. I'm probably just going to keep this rope all wrapped up because I don't really use grappling hooks with my figures. Now you guys know we can't have G.I. Joes without backpacks, and we get his quiver with the gold Rashikage on the back. His arrows, the shafts, and the feathers are gold with black tips. What the heck is going on right here? Can I see what's going on? Is that like... Let me zoom in here. What in the heck? What happened? Do you guys have this issue on your figure? Because this thing, that looks gnarly. Looks like something was living in there. Besides my arrows looking like something was living in them, it would have been cool if they weren't just like, so it sort of shows like that Gold Gomez arrow situation. Like the Gold Gomez had these all individually sculpted, you could see through them. This is just a hunk of plastic and they just painted everything gold. So it would have been cool if those were hollow so you can actually see past them. And then there's the back. And then with the sword, you can just plug it sideways or, you know, however you want to have your sword on. Either way, it's your figure. He comes with a really cool looking bow that's casted in black, painted gold, and doesn't have a string, which I guess I'll have to buy, you know, some elastic string or something to rig on the tops because it looks weird if he's holding it without having some sort of string. But there is sculpt work there, and it's a little weird. Like, I understand, again, he's a white, black, gold ninja, okay? So we got a black bow with a lot of gold. His other weapons are all like white with no paint besides the blade on his sword. Like, can't they just sort of mix it and make it a nice balance? Like, I don't get it. And finally, you can't have a bow without an arrow, and again, casted in that white, sculpted pretty nicely. A very thick tip for an arrow, and then it's got a cool little like notch spot on the back. If you can see that. And it's cool. It's really, really cool. Except, let me sort of take this off there. If you were to put this in the quiver, it's a lot bigger than the arrows shown. You know, you guys can see that. It's a lot longer. The thickness, it's pretty close. But the arrow, the feathers, not even close to being the same. And they're not even painted the same. So is this like his spectral, special, magical arrow or something? Or he only uses one arrow and these are just, you know, for looks? I don't know. I think that's an odd choice. Up close, I love the face sculpt. The mask underneath looks cool, but I guess I really like his eyebrow sculpt in his eyes. Like, it's Storm Shadow. To me, like that look in his eyes and how his scowl in his brow, like all that just really screams Storm Shadow to me. And the figure looks pretty awesome. The hood has a texture throughout, and I really like how the hood, it's removable, but as you put it down, it sort of notches in on that top notch. So it's all loose, but they must have learned from their Ronin figure, because that thing sort of clicks in. No loose hood, which is awesome. And look at the sculpt work on this bad boy. Sure, the white over black could have used some little bit extra layers because it's sort of, the black is peeking through. Same with the design, you know, all right here. But I like the gold straps, the gold and black straps at the top. That Arashikage symbol on his chest, to me, I feel like they didn't need to do that whole chunk. I wish they would have done similar to what they did on the back of his quiver, because you can't really, it just looks like gold. And it's hard to separate the bars and everything. But I love the sculpt work. The texture, like, again, it's a G.I. Joe figure. These figures are not lacking in sculpt and textures. Like, even the shoulder pad looks awesome. Throughout his arm, there's some pretty awesome texture going on throughout. Hands look amazing. Don't mind this skirt thing, even though, I mean, it definitely looks like it's going to hinder articulation, but there's a sculpt and texture throughout that whole skirt. And my buddy Ryan, Laser Pants, actually ended up cutting his off so he can get that better articulation. Even the texture in the legs look good. Like, all of this looks pretty awesome. That white just doesn't want to pop. Like, the white's affecting the balance of what I'm trying to do. I'm like, hey, look at his feet, and it's like glowing. Now let's go ahead and dive into some articulation. I was going to take the hood off first, but let's go ahead and see how the articulation with this head is with the hood. So he can look down that far. He can look up. Well, I guess that's as far as he can look up, but then the hood's sort of loose. But the hood, you just pop it over the chin. You take that off, and it's a nice sort of like sturdy, harder plastic. It's not like gummy. So then with that off, I think this is going to be like future Ninja head sculpt, or even what we might see with the regular release Storm Shadow, and I'm going to be okay. I love the texture. I love the mouth guard. It's pretty awesome. It's very, very awesome. So looking up, or looking, I guess looking down, you can look down this far. You can look up that far. And he's got that disc hinge ball joint and the ball down below. So you get tons of natural, like, feeling articulation. I mean, it's natural as you can get out of a figure. A little bit of attitude. It's very, very, very smooth. Arms. The shoulder pads do not get in the way. So you can actually lift his arms up like so. It's got the bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist rotation and bend, and they bend with the sword. But you got to be careful, because as I'm trying to bend, if it'll focus there for you guys, there you go. It sort of hits these like cuffs. And I think Ryan, not only cutting the skirts, he sanded down the cuffs a little bit, because you could get, it's limiting your range. So these are all going to be on both sides. The hinge in the wrist goes this way, which is awesome. He does have a butterfly joint in there, and it works pretty good. You know, you can see it in play. Pretty nice. I dig it. He does have the ab crunch. They can click down. Get him to bend down this far. You can click back. Again, just sort of... it's weird that you can lean back more. One thing I have an issue with, besides this camera not being in focus, is this. Anybody else having this issue with their Storm Shadow? I'm not really shaking it that hard, but it is very, very wobbly. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm barely... It's just a wobbly ab. Weird. Weird, weird, weird. He does have the ball in the bottom, so you get the... You know, the side motion right there. It's all good, and you get some twisting out of it. So he has the articulation. It's just this part right here. This ab crunch is loose as can be. His legs, full splits. So that doesn't affect, the skirt doesn't affect it that way. Plus the hips drop down, so that also helps. So dropping down the hips, ooh. You can get some up there, like leg movements. You could do a Spartan kick. We get the thigh cut right here. We get double jointed knees, and then we get the ankle bend and the generous pivot like we get with all Hasbro figures. Now, some bonus articulation that I noticed is the shoulder pads. Like, I knew they were sort of loose floating, but I didn't realize they're not attached. They're attached like inside the like butterfly. So his arm's sitting still. You can just shift this thing to the back, to the front. You know, you get all this movement out of the shoulder pads, which is pretty cool. So I got Storm Shadow sort of posed up, ready to shoot an arrow, the only arrow he comes with, and that little notch works very well for getting him to hold the arrow nicely. His loosiness is, again, a sort of a disappointment. That's my biggest gripe. Second gripe is like, come on, we could use some more paint on these weapons and stuff like that, but you just sort of put the little notch in, sort of slide it into his fingers, and you could really get him to notch up that bow. I just got to get that elastic string to put on there, and it'll look pretty awesome. Besides the little gripes I have for this figure, I like it. I do enjoy this figure. You get him posed up in all those great ninja moves, like he's going to deflect with his sickle and attack with the sword. It looks really good. I really, really like this Storm Shadow. So this Storm Shadow can actually get into some nice martial arts poses. I wish his leg would go up a little bit higher, but to get him balancing on those ankles, they could be a little bit stiffer, but it still works for doing a kick. Here we have him next to all the other Joes that I've reviewed so far, and just to show the scale, I mean, Snake Eyes and him look great next to each other. The hood sort of pops it up a little bit, making him taller, but I do believe he's a little bit shorter than Snake Eyes. You got Beachhead right here, and then Roadblock, of course, towers over him as he's one of the bigger G.I. Joes that we've gotten so far. I can't wait to get a hold of Gung Ho so I can... I mean, Gung Ho is probably going to be the same scale as Roadblock because they use the same buck, but these things look awesome together, and it's just, man, who would have thought? 6-inch Joes. Here we have generic DC Suicide Squad dude I got from Five Below, and Articulated Icons stand-in Storm Shadow with the classified Ninja Force Storm Shadow, and they look awesome. I mean, the eyes and expressive detail in the actual like brow definitely trumps over the Articulated Icons Ninja, but the Articulated Icon Ninja is still a solid just ninja. It's that classic look, has a bunch of sculpted in wrinkles and detail. And then the classified line, is going to just be crammed full of textures and sculpt work. So they're both amazing pieces. And yeah, this guy, I just have him here for scale because this guy, detail wise, I mean, he's not even in the same league. So in the end, I like the figure. It's definitely a modernized 6-inch version of that Ninja Force Storm Shadow that I loved growing up as a kid. So I'm okay with it. Have gripes on lack of paint on the weaponry and his loose abs, but besides that, it's a solid figure. I like the look of it, the detail, the sculpt work. It's a great figure, and I'm not disappointed that I invested into it through Amazon. But that sums up my unboxing and review of the G.I. Joe Classified Amazon exclusive Arctic Mission Storm Shadow. If you guys like what you saw, hit that thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, hit that subscribe button for me as it means the world, and hit that bell notification if you want to know when I post up a new video. So definitely check out Toyco Toys and Collectibles. The link is down below. You got a promo code just for you guys to get free shipping. And make sure you check out that pre-order group as it keeps you in the know with certain collectibles that are coming out. Plus gives you the availability to be able to pre-order them at amazing prices because Andrew does amazing pre-order prices on his stuff. So definitely check that out. And I want you guys to have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting and have a beautiful day.